In this video, we are going to talk about men and who they really are, because sometimes we have these perceptions of men, and we think that they, for example, think only about sex when they talk to you, when they interact with you as a woman. They only think about these things, but it's not true. They are people who have full palette of emotions in them, and they just don't know how to express it. And it's much easier for a woman to just put there some label, hey, they just think about sex, but they are actually processing things inside, and they don't know how to really express it. Because, for example, my two little nephews, they don't have a role model of a truly well communicating man around them, and they love to communicate with me, but they have to find their manly way how to communicate. So it's really hard, right?
Yes.
For a guy.
Yes. It's this concept of mirroring, we all have it. We are really good in copying somebody's behavior. If we feel we resonate with it, we can just simply adapt what that person is doing, and it gives us a shortcut in life. We don't have to figure it all by ourselves. We can learn from somebody else and adapt this style of communicating or this style of being.
Yeah.
And that's really lacking a lot in today's world, that we men, when we grow up, that we really have good role models around us.
Yes, exactly. And usually mothers used to take their kids if they were divorcing with a father, and usually those little children didn't have a role model at home who they could mirror, and that caused a problem in the communication, which can be fixed, of course, with a little patience and with a little explanations about how women are processing things, which we can get to in a different video, and that could be very beneficial for relationships. But let's go back to this sex thing, because I never ever, when I talked to men, they were never so first planned talking about these things. And if you do talk about these things, if those men are that simple, woman just doesn't talk to them, it's just normal. But mostly they are very sincere people, and they are very interested in how they could be better, and how they can improve themselves, and how can be better in front of others and for others.
So much.
Yeah. And especially in this sex area also, sometimes it doesn't work, or something is not very right for from their perspective, because they put so much pressure on themselves. But mostly it's because they are very twisted, to say, from this porn industry massage into their brain, how the performance should look like and how they should be, and so on. And it starts and ends with this, but you can just illustrate how they think in their whole life. Basically, they want to perform well for you in any area of life. They want to provide for you as a woman anything in their life, and if they don't do it sufficiently for themselves, and they get to be very hard for themselves usually, then they are very frustrated, and they like to be reassured that it's good, and it's good to sit with each other and say, hey, it's nonsense, you provide so much for me, like, for example, about living space and money and so on, and the man still wants to achieve more and more, because it's in their nature, of course, and they still want to be better and better people.
And it's also so much in a man's nature to really make their woman happy. It is such an innate desire of a man to make his woman happy, and to continuously improve and be the best version. And so the woman really says, wow, I have a really good man. That's the ideal scenario.
Yeah. I would like to say only that men don't like the false praise. They don't like to be praised for something what is not truly valuable for them. So if they achieve something in an area which is not consider it for them as important and you are praising them for doing something, it's more like a manipulation, and they feel it and they would never believe in you, that you mean it truly. It has to be the achievement or the acknowledgement has to come always from a place where man truly believes that he did something well. Like, when Raphael cuts the lawn, it takes a lot of energy and so on, and I say, hey, you really well cut the lawn, I'm so happy I don't have to do this, and you feel good about yourself.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's also they like to do things for you. It's not true that they don't like to do things. They very much love, or human, I know that you love to do things for your people, your women, your kids, anything, because that's why you're here, right? To do these things. You don't want to sit on a couch and watch your YouTube videos, right?
And every time she would acknowledge me in a way like this, I would immediately feel more that I'm in my masculine energy, and I feel better about myself. And it also helps me to be better in the future with every acknowledgement like that.
Yeah, what puts a man down very much is comparing. If you have a man and you say, hey, but our neighbor cut the lawn better than you, and our neighbor drives better than you, the driving is exceptionally sensitive topic, and then I feel that women take criticism very bad, but men take it to their core, and it's insulting them. It basically breaks their heart, when you because it's an insult. It's not comparing, it's not trying to make them better. Also, when they went back from school and their friend had the good grade in math and they had a little bit worse.
Yeah, you compare yourself, and it's like, oh, those men are better and I can't perform at that level, or they make more money, they make their woman happier. It's so bad.
I think every man has this
comparisons.
concern in them how to perform better sexually, how to make more money, how to be well built and look irresistible, because they are still comparing themselves so much. It's so much competition in a man's world, I see it from the little boys. They are still fighting and destroying at the same time, like building and just being friends and being silly with each other and being like little boys all the time, basically. It's a part of this manhood which women wouldn't understand until they see little boys grow up next to them. I also learned that when men says they got something, they are going to do something, even though they are doing it for the first time, they don't feel very well when you are still around them and you're trying to help them as a woman, and you're trying to just make them to do it your way and not their way. That's why women always say, oh, he doesn't ever help me, he never helps me, because it never is done the way I want it to be done. But it's actually his way of doing and delivering the task, right?
And it's also so much taking you out as a man of the doing, because you have a woman next to you that is questioning everything and that knows everything better, and you love her, so you want to do it the way she says, but you basically turn off your brain and you don't learn anything, you don't achieve anything, because she's telling you, she's giving you the exact instructions how to do it, and you can't really learn from this then. But we really want to do things on our own, and even if we mess up, at least we messed up by ourselves and we learned something from it. It's so important for us that we are being left alone with those tasks that we have at hand, and we figure it out. We always figure it out. If we would be living by ourselves, we would also have to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think it's very important that we trust them and we let them do stuff the way they are doing it, because we are here for learning, and if they will never learn it, they didn't have a chance to learn certain things like around household and so on, they will never be able to provide it for you in the future, and they really need to do
Can't
mistakes.
build confidence as well.
Yeah, and if we do all mistakes, let's just laugh about it. Let's not make a big deal about it, because sometimes it's really tough for the guy to satisfy the need at first. You know, you do something for the first time, you are constructing the closet from IKEA for the first time, and you mess up. You know, we have one which is done backwards, you know, but he would never do it again, you know. Well, we had one thing backwards.
Yeah, it still is like this.
And it's just fun because it was the first one he did, and he would never do that mistake, so it's really fun.
I was really left alone. I could do it myself. It wasn't IKEA furniture, it was a little bit different.
It was a different
foreign
furniture.
instructions and so on.
Yeah.
So it's not hard, but you know, I made a little mistake and I couldn't really change it after that, and I embrace it and it's okay. And she was also, all right, so we have it like this, it's all right. And
It's holding.
Next time I'll do it differently.
It was the inner part, so it was okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise we would redo it, right?
Yeah.
Somehow. But also, if we talk to a man, I wanted him to react at me in a moment. I needed right now some answer, you know, and we have an agreement now that when he can't provide me an answer, he's not quiet anymore, and he says, "What are you saying?"
I need some moment to process it.
Or I'm thinking about it, or I'm processing it. These words are super helpful in a relationship with a man, because he is hearing you. It seems like he doesn't hear, and right, it's
For me, when you ask me something which I really need to think about first, which I can't just spit out an answer, I go quiet and I immediately go into thinking. And sometimes it might take really long time for me to think about it, and I usually like to think about these things by myself. But yeah, you are then thinking that I don't listen to you or I don't hear you, but I'm actually already in the middle of thinking about that.
So don't interact with this process, because we, as women, we love to think out loud, right? We communicate what is going through our head, and it's very helpful for us, and then we feel unheard and not respected enough when we don't get any answer. So it's really good to give each other like a sign, like we are on the other ends of the ship or of the boat, and say, "Hey, I'm sending you this and this message," and he says, "Message received." You know, it's just enough. Message received. And you know that he received it, and everything is going to be amazing. He just, in a day, he comes back to that topic sometimes when it's a little challenging topic, and he gives me amazing feedback usually. So if woman is impatient, we have to learn that. We have to live with that. Like they learn to live with us when we are impatient, and they have to anchor us, and they have to be super calm around us crazy women sometimes, because I know I can be sometimes a little bit more demanding, and a little bit more demanding him to be my girlfriend and not to be my man. But if you want to have a girlfriend and she gives you a lot of feedback immediately, get a girlfriend, like go to have a coffee with her or something. But if you have a man next to you, then he doesn't really talk to you this way, right?
And I also need to take myself out of the situation and away from her to really think about it, because I need to be by myself. I don't want to have any people around me. I really need to think about it myself.
And one more thing, because we have hundreds of these things which we can talk about, but one more important thing for women is that men make finite decisions. For them, it's very calming to make finite decisions. You know, we get in a relationship in the beginning especially, and we are like, oh, is he a good partner? Is he going to be a good husband or father or whatever? And then we are just able to go back and forth with our thoughts. He or man, normal, real men, are like, she is my partner. I decided that I'm going to be committed to this woman, and I'm committed to this woman. You know, no matter whatever they call the commitment, right? Whatever they have in a mindset as a commitment. So men are usually very committed people who want to make their woman happy, and if they love somebody, they love somebody. They have it like very narrow focused, you know. They don't think about left or right, they just do it.
It's only
easy.
that they start to question the relationship when they feel they can't really satisfy the woman, when they're not really feeling like they're man enough in the relationship, or they lack some qualities which the woman would need, or when they feel that the woman is not really that interested anymore, that committed, that they start to also question the relationship. It can also happen to men.
Yeah, I think that's why it's good to set the roles and responsibilities in a relationship. That's why they sometimes don't feel needed and heard. And you know, if you're not needed anywhere and you're just in a corner and waiting for your woman to do everything, and you don't get enough space to express yourself or anything like that, then it's not really relationship for a man, you know.
Then you start to search for these things outside.
Yes.
Where you
yes.
would maybe get nourish this acknowledgement or anything that might be missing. Then you're searching for it outside of the relationship.
Where they can self-actualize, where they can express themselves, because women are very concerned about everything has to be perfect, everything has to be working, and there is no basically time and space for mistakes. And men, when we start to live together, especially, or when we live together, there is a mistake. Everybody is doing things differently, and even your girlfriend would do it differently. But then when you judge somebody, and when we constantly tell them that they are not doing enough, and when they are not doing it the way they are supposed to do it, because we imagine them to do it the way we want them to do it, then they are stepping aside, and they are like, okay, I'll not do this, I'll not do dishes, I'll not help you with washing laundry because I messed up something, and they just want to put hands away from that, and it feels uncomfortable. Imagine that you wouldn't be needed in the relationship. What would you do, you know, if the man does everything, cooking, cleaning, you know, all these important things, and you just don't have any utilization in there, right? So these things are just beginning of our talking about these relationships, because we think that it's very important for men to be acknowledged and to be understood as well, because we still talk about female power and femininity and so on, but we women were super feminine. We didn't even have a right to vote, and we didn't have a right to do anything, and now we have rights over men, and we are basically taking away their responsibilities, which they were having their whole existence of our civilization.
And the younger generations that grow up like this in a very women's empowered world, they just sort themselves into this system. They accept and acknowledge that a lot of positions of power are being occupied by women, and that men listen to them and follow their instructions, and also that they go to women to find feedback and to get help in life, to get along, instead of having men like our peers that could support us and show us the way. Because it's just the world is really changing a lot, and I feel we have to learn to go a little bit back to our innate capabilities and our core qualities which we have, because men's qualities are beautiful, women's qualities are beautiful, and we just want to nourish who we truly are again, so we can really function better in relationships and have a happier life and be more connected to each other. Instead of that, we have to now, that men also have to compete with women, and women try to compete with men. This is, then we're all masculine. What do we have then from the life?
It's very confusing for young boys to just now everybody puts nail polish on and everybody puts dresses and skirts on. I don't think it's bad to play pretend, but when I was little, even boys didn't even want to put skirts on because it was just no, that's what I'm not going to do because I'm the man in here, you know. Little tiny men, but they were men. And my nephews are also men, you know. They would never do this because they just have it, you know, have the role models around them.
Yeah,
you know.
It doesn't need the marketing, the whole putting it on the news and putting it on everywhere and in news articles and all that and magazines that men who want to, or boys that want to do girly things, that this should be the new normal and it should be accepted and so on. It just doesn't need to have all this marketing. Just let each person be who they want to be. We all are individuals. We have a choice to do what we want to do with our bodies, with our life, but don't put signs everywhere. Don't put it on billboards and all that. It's not necessary.
And also, I know that we have right to do with our bodies whatever we want to do with our bodies, but we never know what we are doing, you know, in a moment.
Because we're in a program, we're not really ourselves.
We have to take 10 to 20 years to realize what we did when we were young. And everybody would agree with us that when we are 40 or 30, we would never do things which we did when we were 15 or you know, 18 or anything like that. We would never do that. Some of those things we would, of course, but like go to school and study well. But you know what I mean. The decisions and the maturity in our head is different, and the values are changing. We don't need to be, the biggest value is not anymore to belong somewhere and to be accepted and to be privileged in some way. It's just that we wanted to be privileged in the past, in puberty and teenage years. Now it's more like we want to be calm and happy and centered, right? That's where we are all going. Men are also loving to look strong and firm, and you know, with sometimes they have also poker face because they want to be there when you have a problem as a woman. And we are very hormonally unstable during the month, and that's why we will make another video, or we have another video available already for you, where we will teach a man how to understand and how to work with the woman's cycles of her body to be more anchored and to understand that it's not your fault, it's not her fault, it's just the body processing something, and it's going to be super life-changing for you. So watch also our next video.